Hello, my name is Steve Horowitz. I'm the Executive Director of the Technology and Applied Composition Program at the San Francisco Conservatory of Music. I am also a composer for many, many years. Music for film, music for games, and if you look me up on Spotify and follow me, you'll find about 36 albums of original music. So today I'm going to be looking at a clip of Season 2 of House of the Dragon. This is the first time I'm seeing it. Haven't watched it before, so let's dive right in. So I'm listening to this, and the first thing I'm noticing is that they've matched this, medieval type feeling with an epic orchestral score. That's a very common way to score this kind of a show. Might expect some other type of music, but I think that this is really in line with what you would expect. Also, I'm going to jump back here just for a second, and if we take a look from the top, and I know this seems really nitpicky, and I'm right here at the beginning of the clip, but contextually, I always like it when the music draws me in to the actual movement on the screen. And one thing I'm noticing here is I get this clip to a wide-angle shot that I haven't seen of this particular dragon before, with our nice person here in the foreground, and there's no change in the music. I'm still hearing this continuation of this epic theme. I wonder if that might have been an opportunity to add another instrument orchestrally, maybe start with the drums and then bring in the instrumentation as I see this clip, because this is a really stunning and startling image from a distance. So these are the type of things that I'm looking for, is how does the music contrast or go with the action that's happening on the screen, with the movement on the screen, and then how are we using the instrumentation, how are we using our orchestral forces. So I'll jump back a little bit and keep going. So there's an example, again, of like a moment that I really, really like. So we hear that ascending scale, and we hear the modulation as our chord progression is moving up, as our character is obviously seeing something pretty amazing. I wonder if the build-up here is big enough to the reveal scene of what he's seeing. So let's go back and think about it from that perspective. So we do get that percussion hit, so that's kind of nice. I just wonder if it could have been bigger. And I'll stop there and talk a little bit about, that's a really nice element as we get to really hear what these dragons sound like. Also, if you notice their position spatially in the mix, in terms of their position on screen, which is also a really, really nice touch in terms of the sound design, not in terms of the music. Also pointing out that if you listen, the giant wings of our giant dragony friend there are, I think, and let's go back and listen, but in time with the tempo and the pulse of the music, which is a nice touch as well. Goes back to Max Steiner, goes back to this idea of Mickey Mousing to the camera, of making sure that action on the screen ties into the music and the tempo itself. So let's see if that's the case. Arguable.
You got it!
nice moment there, right? I mean, really, really well done, beautifully orchestrated, right? So you get the attack, you get this massive moment, and then a decrease and a diminuendo in the music, calms down and comes back so that we can absorb that moment on the screen.
Like the guns! Check out it!
And that's really, really well done. I just want to point that out, that the way we transition from the music here, which almost earworms for us and sticks in your mind, the da-da-ya-da, which we hear over and over again, maybe a little too much. That's not fair of me to say, because I'm watching a clip from a show that's 3 or 4 minutes that I've never watched before, right? So that might be a little overstating it. But at the same time, this transition to sound design and sound effects really taking over the music, just setting a pad, sounds like basically a string pad in the background, in order to highlight that moment. Let's look at that again. We get this cluster here.
Guns! Check out it!
That cluster right here. Love it. Beautiful sound design of the dragon passing overhead. That's really nice. Nice effect.
Your Grace!
And then the release of tension that happens here. Beautifully done.
Ancos Velis.
So I'm gonna just go back and roll back to here as this second battle sequence is about to start. First of all, I'll just mention that these dragons are super cool. So it's really visually stunning and really nice to look at. I do know from looking at the title that this is a death scene here, and I think that you can hear that foreshadowed in the music. We'll see if that's true, but I'm making an assumption here that this theme, maybe it's been heard before in the show, don't know, but associated with this character, and now we're hearing it has a little bit of pathos. So even though it's sort of noble and we're going into a battle, there also is already a sense of maybe impending doom or a sense of sadness. From the use of the minor scales, already you're anticipating.
Ancos Velis.
And the music draws you into the battle with our nice timpani roll. Again, I'm going to stop it here just to say that, again, the music is very, very effective, but I also wonder about the timing of this cue, whether this was really heavily edited to picture here, because if you notice, we have We have this theme. I wonder why it didn't start on that frame instead of instead of the way it started a few frames before, which would have been more dramatic as we get to this scene, right? To hear that theme awaken as we get our brass entering into the picture, right? Some people will like that kind of very synchronized way of scoring. I really do. Others, maybe not so much. And we've gone full Godzilla here in just saying that our music has dropped out completely now, just taken by sound design, which is really, really well done. The sounds of the dinosaurs, the mix in of the flames. And I will play this again in a second, but I think it's an interesting choice, right? Because in a way, you could have highlighted this with musical accompaniment, right? Making the music bigger, bringing in more orchestration, more instrumentation, higher melodic development. But instead, I think it was a really cool choice to drop the music out and have this extremely dramatic moment just taken by sound design. It's kind of super cool. Beautiful. That's a really, really well-timed cue. Although, I'll bring up a couple of things, and this is not good or bad, but as we look at these kinds of clips, we look at them silently as we're putting music to them, we start to ask ourselves questions. Where do we want to put music? Where do we not want to put music? So in this case, the decision to not put music there is super cool. I wonder if when the music comes back in, if you notice it comes back in pretty much at the same level that it came in before, almost as if it were cut or edited that way. I wonder if that would have been an opportunity as we see our dragon falling from the sky to, again, have the music tell us more about what's happening in the development of this scene. So take a look at it from that perspective and see if you agree or disagree. Nice, that ending cuts off beautifully, really gives us just a rolling ending to that scene, right? Just perfectly timed with the images. Let's see where it goes from here. So one thing that I noticed right away is that from the first part of this clip, we've been listening to pretty much standard orchestral instruments, right? Big percussion, strings, large string section, brass, used in different ways. And then suddenly here, as we get to this section, I'm hearing much more of a combination of ambient design, right? So almost a different palette completely. Let's listen and see if I'm hearing that right. And it works really well, right, to take us out of reality into this slow motion action that we're seeing with this incredibly dramatic dragon about to stomp on people. And now as we move out of that sequence back into real time, we come back to standard orchestral instruments, it sounds like. Beautifully done. Again, not having seen this clip, it's completely unfair to me to judge this way, but why is my music not changing in relationship to the action that's happening on the screen. There's a sudden change. There's being surprised, and yet the music doesn't seem to be highlighting that. Again, could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. Again, it's all about creative choices, how you see the picture and how you want to develop the narrative of the music along with the picture. In this case, it seems to go a little bit contrary to the narrative. Big moment, but not in the music, mostly carried by sound design. Okay, so I learned a lot in this clip, especially at the end of that clip, right? I learned, first of all, has nothing to do with the music, that dragons, when they fall out of the sky, they explode, which is interesting, kind of like cars. They explode. I don't know why I'm looking at the camera now, but that's interesting to know that if you drop a dragon out of the sky, they're going to explode, which is great. It has nothing to do with the music, but really super well done, right? I mean, again, it's all about creative choices. At the end of this clip, if I move back just a little bit here, right, as our dragon explodes and we move into the scene, we get very held strings, held chords, and then we actually, I would assume, get part of the theme of this character. Maybe I don't know who this character is, but a dark theme that says that maybe what just happened was a bad thing. Probably not a good thing for the House of the Dragon. I don't know, because I haven't watched it, but I have been listening to it. The one thing I am curious about, and I'm going to go back to see, is the theme that plays here, if it has any relationship to the theme that we heard earlier for this character. Right here, this character here. Let's see if that has any melodic relationship to that first battle that we started to get involved in. Where was that? Let me find that place right here. Let's see if they relate to each other. Not really. Thought it might be a tagger. I think that might have been an opportunity for the composer to tie those things together. The more noble theme with a little bit of pathos here, and then tying that into our final death scene for the character. I don't know if they did that in this show to bring themes in, if they used leitmotifs that way. But I have to say, overall, it's a beautiful production and a beautiful sound. Well done. And the dragons, I'm sure there's a great story of the creation of the sound design for the dragons themselves, whether that was done with taking other animals and mixing it with sound design elements of pre-recorded sound. I don't know. A lot of times you can use, you know, a chicken and slow it way down and it sounds like a dragon. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for listening. I hope you've at least gotten something out of this and enjoyed part of this critique. If you want to learn more about the Technology and Applied Composition program at the SF Conservatory, just head on over to our website.